This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
If an anthropologist watches Quirky Love Rose or reacts to Quirky Love Rose, and we're going to react to this one not for the reasons you think. About a day ago, Quirky posts this post on her community tab on her YouTube channel, which, surprise, surprise, Quirky's acknowledging her YouTube channel exists. So this was captured 22 minutes after this was posted. Yeah. Recently, I've been throwing myself into my writing. Cool. It's been an incredible experience feeling like myself again in that way. I don't care. It's brought a lot of joy alongside the stress of life and the chronic pain. We'll talk about that. I've been battling with how much joy I've felt recently within the paradigm of the true pain, anguish, and disgust I feel with what's happening in the world. Paradigm? Is that the word you want? I'm finding it really hard to go on live and act like everything is normal and okay in the wake of the release of the files. The state of our country, especially in Missouri, the state of America as a whole, and the general societal apathy, lack of action, and powerlessness. Your own lack of action and apathy? It's hard to just sit in my kitchen and cook and keep with the status quo. If I don't shake up my life for the better, I'm going to go insane. In the membrane. So please make sure to follow and stay following my free Patreon account to get updates on my future writings, because God forbid we not make this about us. I have a ton of poetry, but I'm about to expand my different writings, my different styles of writing, and only sharing some with the public as I formulate my different styles and projects. I'm ready to start living who I've always wanted to be, who I've been and suppressed. It's like the 9th time I've read that sentence, and it's still hard to get through. Link here to her Patreon. I'll be live again soon, but how I operate on the internet is in transition. I'm not going back to how things were. Hair flip. If you're wondering what's going on in Missouri, so were all of us. Important things to note here. This is the unedited version of this post. This is the original version of this post, which is an important detail to keep in mind. Missouri. Am I the only person that does that? Like, I don't know what it is, but I have to pronounce it that way. Missouri. It's a thing. I don't know what to tell you. All right, so things to go over here. I don't think paradigm is the word you were looking for. Maybe we need to work synergy into there. I don't know. Stop using the thesaurus. If you got a thesaurus, the word, maybe don't use it. Anguish and disgust I feel with what's happening in the world. If you don't know what files she's talking about, I'm guessing she's talking about the Epstein files. Those were most recently released. There's a lot. I highly doubt she knows even like a fraction of what's in it. I don't even know a fraction of what's in it. There's I think my partner was telling me there's 3 million files. That's a lot. Anyway, the state of our country as a whole. Did she even vote? Anyway, Missouri. She means Minneapolis. She means Minneapolis. Now, that's an oopsie, okay? That's an oopsie. She deleted a lot of comments, but these ones apparently got left because maybe she got tired of deleting them. But we've got one from a day ago that says Missouri ? Which is the nicest one on here, by the way. This is the nicest one. Then we've got another one that says, I think you mean Minnesota, Rosee. Did you really know what's going on? That's the second nicest one. We've got, did you mean Minnesota and not Missouri? You couldn't even get the right state mentioned while using the tragedies of the country to beg for subscribers. You center yourself in this post and didn't even mention ways you intend to, quote, shake up status quo, not even a link to actual resources. Disappointing. If you're so concerned with what's happening in the country, why didn't you post resources for people to look into? You continue to talk about being afraid and wanting to talk about the horrible issues happening currently, but you never post about charities, organizations, or where to help those in need, etc. It's always turned back into you and your issues. Think about that. And then the one that I really want to focus on is this one from Lindsay. Now remember, Rosee told us about the chronic pain thing. Someone who suffers with chronic pain, I've had 17 back surgeries and have multiple multiple sclerosis. I didn't say that right. I feel like you tend to make your pain your entire personality. You constantly bring it up, mentioning a pain flare you're in or have been in, or pointing out you have to take your medicine, then proceed to take it in front of the camera, make exaggerated noises to emphasize something, quote, hurts. All this to say, maybe try not making it your entire personality because you do. I live my life in constant pain, but I never talk about it because there are other things about me that aren't about my disabilities/pain. If someone asks how I'm feeling, I say I'm good, and 100% of the time, I'm lying. But that's not something I care to talk about or anything and dwell on when talking with people. I'm not saying you shouldn't or don't need to ever say something on occasion, but you literally mention it multiple times in a stream or video and in every CT post you make. There are things you can do to help yourself, and only you can make those changes. I'm not trying to be hateful, just as someone who has only come across you within the last year, just something I've noticed. And that's got 65 likes. This is an important one to read out to you guys, because in a minute, we're going to go to Rosee's live from last night, where we got to play Piano Man, which was really annoying. We get to meet the new boo, which was fun. That's one word for it. Yeah. So in light of this, Rosee decides that her next live, she wants to shake things up. She's shaking it up, you guys. And so Rosee decides that instead of cooking in her kitchen, she's going to sit in her kitchen, and she's going to. I think the plan had been to eat pizza poppers and then write poetry while Remy played piano, and we were all supposed to watch. That was, I think, the intended point of the stream last night, was we were all supposed to be body doubling while she wrote poetry and Remy played the piano. And that was fun. Now, we are not going to watch this whole thing, mainly because it's not that great. It's actually, I mean, if you like listening to people play piano, that sounds like MIDI music being played over a mic, a speaker, a bad radio speaker that is then being played over a second bad radio speaker. This is your alley. This is your bag. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to say Remy's bad at the piano. I have no real opinion. It's just the setup wasn't great. She apparently had him playing piano over Discord through her computer, her laptop, and then that was being picked up by her phone that she was streaming on. So the sound was terrible. So even if Remy was like the best pianist in the world, it was bound to sound terrible. So that was a disservice to Remy. Now, what I do want to, the two things I do want to go over, though, is her response to the Missouri thing and her response to the chronic pain comment under the Missouri thing. And we're going to jump to that using the magic of the transcripts. If you want to watch the whole thing, I will link it down below in the description. I don't know how long it'll stay up. She's been deleting stuff lately, and I don't know. I feel like this might be one of those that she might end up deleting, but more reasons to react to it now. Now, Rosee has been writing poetry up to this point, and she's been looking for a word to replace redundant or something like that. But redundant's not a good word. So we've been into the thesaurus. Somebody was saying that Word Hippo is a better spot to go to if you need synonyms and antonyms and words. I don't know, but there you go. So we're going to pick up from here. This is about an hour and 39 minutes and 29 seconds, in case you were wondering.
Gotcha, Charlotte. Oh.
Yeah, I forgot. There's piano music in the background. Just FYI. You get to suffer like we got to suffer.
You're in Minnesota? I'm sorry. Yeah, I accidentally typed Missouri in my post, and some people decided to take that as an opportunity to make it about dogging on me instead of, I don't know, the atrocities happening in Minnesota. And
no, people took it as a moment to point out that you are performative to the point where you can't even be bothered to get the state correct. Not focusing on the atrocities. If anything, they were pointing out that you don't even know where the atrocities that you're supposedly so upset about are even occurring, which showed that they are more upset about said atrocities than you are.
And I mixed up words because I have an undiagnosed learning disability.
Mark that one.
Because I couldn't afford the $100 copay to get diagnosed. Sorry. Like, whatever, man.
Okay. There's a lot here. She's not done.
That's lovely. Oh, you're not done. My bad.
This is what the live was like all last night, by the way.
Right, shirt lord. Yeah. People are they're desperate to find ways to put me down or make me feel inferior. And I'm just like, that's where I'm at in life.
So, first off, she says, yeah, I accidentally typed Missouri in my post, and some people decided to take that as an opportunity about dogging me instead of, I don't know, the atrocities happening in Minnesota. And I mixed up words because I have an undiagnosed learning disability because I couldn't afford the $800 copay to get diagnosed. Sorry, like, whatever, man. First off, you don't just pay money and buy diagnoses. That's just not how that works. But this is coming from the person who is desperate to get diagnosed as autistic because deep down she just knows she is, even though she's been to no less than 2 doctors, I think 3, no, 2 for sure, who have told her that no, she's not autistic, she just has ADHD, that she refuses to get treated. So this is that same person, right? Now all of a sudden that she mixed up a word, instead of just being like, yeah, oops, I put the wrong state down, my bad. Now she has to be like, oh, it's because I have an undiagnosed learning disability. You guys are all just dicks. No, you don't get to play that card. No. Excuse you, madam. I do have dyslexia, which I think is what you're trying to pretend like you have right now. Because I've heard you try to say that before. There's been other lives where I've heard you try to say you have dyslexia, but I guess you never went and paid your $800 to get your dyslexia card. because that's how that works. It's not how that works, by the way. Jesus Christ. That's not even with dyslexia. Let's pretend like somehow I mixed up these two states, which I didn't, by the way. I would go, oops, my bad. And then I would go fix it. And I'd be like, wow, that's really embarrassing. Because it would be. But you know what I wouldn't do? Go on a fucking ad campaign about how I have dyslexia and how that's the problem. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. No one gives a shit. Okay? It's not a get out of jail free card. You still have to double check your facts, okay? All dyslexia means is that you have to use other resources and other tools to make sure that your shit's correct. All right? It just means you have to work harder. It's unfortunate, but that's what it means. All right? You have to learn coping mechanisms so that you can function in the regular world with normal people. That's what dyslexia means, okay? So you can just fuck right off. I've literally dealt with this my entire life. I have been told I am slow. I have been told I am stupid. I have been told that I don't try hard enough. Okay? You can go to hell. I mixed up two states. People just want to dog on me. No. Because I didn't pay my $800 to get my diagnosis. No. Even if you did, it doesn't fucking matter. This isn't how this works. You don't pay $800 and get a little shiny card, and then everybody has to go, oh, you have dyslexia? Oh, my bad. Go make all the mistakes you want. That doesn't happen. Nope. It does not happen. Nope. And I came from the generation where they didn't acknowledge that dyslexia was a fucking thing. So I got it even worse than the current generation who actually gets resources to help them with their dyslexia, which I'm not mad about at all. Okay, I'm really happy they have these resources because they're great resources, okay? There's programs that read to you. There's programs that correct your grammar and your spelling. There's fonts. You can change fonts on your digital, your e-readers and stuff. Those things are amazing. There's all kinds of coping tools for people with dyslexia, for adults, for children. There's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of new ways to learn. People are actually learning. Like people with normal brains have learned that dyslexic brains learn differently. They've adjusted their teaching styles. That's amazing. Okay. It makes me very happy. And then there's you. No. Just no. So mad. So very, very mad right now. Right. But we're not done. Oh, we're not done. So Rosee gets asked a question that, don't get me wrong, I've been asked this a lot of times throughout my entire life. Especially after I got a formal diagnosis. And don't get me wrong, this is a really annoying question to get asked. And the answer she gives is not incorrect if you actually have a diagnosis. But it's just like the fucking cherry on top, man. It's the cherry on fucking top. And then we're going to go to the chronic pain comment. She was just full of it last night. But anyway, she gets asked this question mainly because people have gotten tired of her collecting disorders and diagnoses like Pokemon cards. And so much like with the other girls, people just directly call it out these days to see what they're going to say, what the girls are going to say, or how the girls are going to try to back up whatever their new mysterious diagnosis is. And you'll see people do it a lot to Amber, especially with her BPD diagnosis. People, especially when she was real early in her BPD diagnosis, people would just directly call her out. Oh, when did you get diagnosed? Or what do you know about BPD and that kind of a thing. So this is somebody who just directly calls her out immediately in the same live about this, because she, in this same live, of course, she's talking about Remy throughout this whole thing, because Remy's the one playing the piano, and Remy's into Bruce Lee, and Remy's into philosophy, and Remy's into stoicism, and now, of course, Roz has to be into stoicism, and I'd really like to hear your opinion on Zeno and the great Stoic masters. I would really like to hear your opinions on those, Roz. Anyway, but so she's just waxing poetic about all these new things she's learning and how she's writing all these poems. She says, "Oh yeah, the other day I wrote 6 poems in one day. Cool beans. You know, you rock yourself out, man." And she's writing, I think, a poem, maybe 2 poems. I say poem. I know, it's annoying. Throughout this entire live while he's playing piano the whole time. And she reads one of them off to us. And it's very deep, very deep. I don't like poetry. I don't care who writes it. I don't care who writes it. I don't like poetry. I've seen Maya Angelou twice live. I don't like poetry. I'm sorry. You can't make me. So I have no actual opinion on her poetry because I don't like poetry. I can't have an opinion on it. But anyway, so this is the question she gets asked about her learning disabilities.
Yeah, Boston, that's a great question. How do you have an undiagnosed learning disability, but you're writing poetry and learning philosophy just fine?
First off, any other situation, I would say this is a fucking condescending question. It really is. Just because you have a learning disability doesn't mean you're incapable of learning. However, I understand why this question was asked, and I know the context into which this question was asked. So,
you don't know how easy or difficult it is for me, or the accommodations I make for myself. The amount of proofreading and time it takes. It took me a long time to write one sentence in this live. I don't know if you saw that. I was a little distracted and stuff, but I was struggling to formulate the thought and how I wanted. It takes me a long time. You guys also haven't seen the years that I've hidden this stuff and worked on it, and how rudimentary and not as good I was.
Okay. In my experience, let me put it this way. Anytime I've had someone ask me this, or anytime I have seen someone else or heard someone else get asked this question who has, typically it revolves around dyslexia, because that's just what I do. Someone comes up to you and asks you this, 9 times out of 10, the immediate answer is learning disabilities don't mean you can't learn. That's the answer. You don't typically hear people go into these explanations about, you don't know how difficult or easy it is. That's not usually how one answers a question. You also don't typically hear people go into this whole you don't know how long it takes me to proofread something. I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with the actual question. My point being, before we dissect this entire thing, because we're not going to, my point is, this is not a typical answer, which makes it sus. To me. Maybe not to everyone. Everyone's experience is different. And I know that there is a large number of you who also have dyslexia and other forms of learning disabilities because you have shared them with me. So I'm perfectly aware of that. And I know a lot of you have children who also suffer. So that's fine. This answer, when she decided to launch into this about poor pitiful me and you don't know how hard I struggle, and you don't know how bad it is, and you don't see how much effort I put into it, that is not normally the answer I hear.
Just because you have a learning disability does not mean you are incapable.
That is typically the answer that you hear. Some version of that. That is typically the answer. Because just because you have a learning disability doesn't mean you can't learn. It just means you got to do it differently. That's usually the answer. It's in some version of that, right? Not those exact words, but in some version of that. So it just struck me as really odd. It struck me as very odd that we didn't start with that. That we ended with that. That we started with, woe is me. You don't know how I struggle. You don't know what it's like. No, you don't. You don't fucking know what it's like. You don't know how incredibly frustrating it is to not be able to spell a basic word. You don't know how infuriating and embarrassing it is to think you have the right word spelled out and you don't. And then 9 million people are going to tell you that it's not spelled. You don't know how embarrassing that is. You don't know what it's like. You really don't. But the difference is, it doesn't mean I can't learn, right? But I'm also not going to sit here and bemoan it. I mean, I know I just did. But the point is I'm not going to make it, this isn't how I'm going to answer that question. That's not how this question gets answered. I don't know. That's just my personal take on the matter. Y'all can have a different opinion, and it's perfectly fine. So that's fine. It's cool. This one just really got under my skin. It just really fucking pissed me off. She does this to me every 6 months or so. She just finds the thing that just gets under my skin, and I just can't let it go. And this is it. This was it this time. So Roz has this magical ability that the girls, not all of the girls have, to just like find that one fucking thing that just gets under my skin. Because I noticed that like I get really irritated with her more than the other girls. And maybe it's because she's so fucking performative. And that just really apparently that's a trigger for me. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, the chronic pain thing, because, you know, I read that comment from Lindsay talking about their chronic pain. Now, keep in mind, I always want to say this, keep in mind, it's the internet. We have no idea. You don't know. I could be telling lies about my dyslexia. Lindsay could be telling lies about their chronic pain. You don't know. We're just going to take everybody at face value, right? Unless proven otherwise. This is Roz explaining to us this pain relief powder that she's taking. I've never seen it or heard of it before, but a lot of people have, I guess. I don't know. I think you're supposed to dissolve it in water, but for some reason, Roz just puts it, just like dry chugs it. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the hell it is to begin with, but apparently you can buy it on Amazon. But Roz is going to explain it to us and then make a snarky comment about the comment that was left on her in her comment section.
I didn't want to interrupt him to explain it. So when you guys see me randomly put this powder in my mouth, it's just fast-acting pain relief. It's like, this one is a mix of aspirin and acetaminophen and a little bit of caffeine. I think I actually...
Isn't acetaminophen aspirin? Am I wrong? No, acetaminophen is not aspirin. So says the Google. Acetaminophen is Tylenol.
Finished the orange one. These were on sale. I got them a little bit ago from Amazon. They were on sale for $1.95. They're normally like $5 or $6 a box. And I like these because there's less caffeine in them. But they honestly are really good. But someone asked when I did it because, I mean, apparently according to my comments, I make my pain my personality. So I was trying to not put too much focus on that, but anyway.
So I was trying not to put focus on my pain because according to my comments, I make my pain my personality, but I just couldn't resist drawing attention to the fact that I'm not drawing attention to my pain because I don't want to make it my personality. Okay, cool. Just so we're all on the same page. So what we're not doing is talking about our pain. I hope you all noticed how much we were not talking about our pain. Just putting it out there. Because someone called me out for it in my comments. Anyway, this was her attitude through the entire live with Remy. When she wasn't making weird googly eyes at her computer while Remy was playing piano. Again, I really can't. I thought it sounded okay for what it was because, again, it was him playing piano over the Discord through her laptop that was then being recorded through her phone. So it was not the best. It would have sounded bad one way or the other, right? So it sounded okay for what it was to me. Is what it is. So there's that. So when she wasn't making googly eyes at him or pretending to write poetry, she was kind of picking fights with her chat pretty much all night. At one point, she has a long-term chatter in there named Mel's, who usually says very nice, supportive things. Mel's is one of her big-time supporters. Usually has nothing but nice things to say. So Mel's leaves a comment, Mel's salty chicken. And like I said, Mel's has been in this chat for a long time. Mel's is, again, one of her big supporters. Mel's says, Rosee, I have enjoyed watching you for a long while now, but this isn't the content I signed up for or enjoy at all. I'm going to go and hope you reconsider your content choices. Have a good night. Which was kind of a bold statement for Mel's. Because like I said, Mel's usually posts very supportive stuff towards Rosalind and towards Rosee. And instead of just saying like, oh, okay, well, that's too bad, maybe next time, it really got under Rosie's skin. To which Rosee decides to respond thusly.
All right, Mouse. I'm going to make the content I want, babe. You can be here or not, love. And you can come back when you like the ones that you like. I love this content. This is me. And I'm happy.
She's never done content like this before. She's never had, well, a boyfriend to play piano for her. But she's never done this type of body doubling content before. So this is brand new.
And to be very blunt, I'm making this for me because I'm not being paid to be here. I'm doing this because I want to be here.
Mel supports her on her other paid channels.
That's it.
And Mel's was one of her paying members.
Quite frankly, I think it's really presumptuous of you to say that. Hope you come back. I've enjoyed you in my chat, but you're not entitled to dictate how I conduct myself on my platform.
Can you imagine talking to someone who has supported you for like years at this point, who has literally paid you? Mel's has been a paying supporter of Rosee's in the past. Like the only reason why Mel's isn't paying her right now, like isn't a paying member right now, is because Rosee can't have paid memberships. Rosee's channel isn't monetized right now. Can you imagine talking to someone like that? And all Mel said was, this isn't my kind of content. This isn't the kind of content I want to watch, nor do I enjoy. I'm going to go. And instead of just stopping at, oh, well, that's too bad. Maybe next time. Rosee has to have a little temper tantrum about it. And then on top of it, basically tell Mel's to go F themselves. This person has supported you for years, Rosee. I guess you don't care. And this is why This is why you don't have anybody supporting you anymore. Like, I'm just pointing it out. I just wanted you guys to hear how she talks to her real life supporters. That wasn't a reaction channel. That wasn't a buddy troll. That was a real supporter of hers. That was a real person who has supported her for at least 2 years that I'm aware of. At least a year. Because I know I can track Mel's back. Now, she didn't block Mel's. Because you can still see the comment. The comment didn't get deleted. So Mel's is welcome back. Should Mel's choose to go back. But I'm sorry, if a creator talked to me like that, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go watch their crap again. Just no. Wow. But anyway, all right. I've had my little temper tantrum, my own temper tantrum. We've talked about Rosee being called out for her chronic pain and by someone else who has chronic pain. Here's the thing. I don't doubt that Rosee doesn't have pain because, I mean, look at her. There's no way in hell she doesn't have pain. But it's just making it her key personality trait. I think it's always interesting to me when Rosee gets called out by people who suffer from chronic pain or who suffer from some of the disorders that she likes to claim she has, because she rotates through a couple of them here and there. And it just always fascinates me when she gets called out by other people who are also sufferers, and just how she takes it. It's usually not well. Because it's kind of the same way with Anna, aka Glitter and Lasers, when she gets called out by people who actually have disorders that she likes to pretend like she has, because she really does pretend. And it's 9 times out of 10, Anna will just straight ignore it. Like that's what Anna does. Anna just ignores things. But Rosee has to get a little dig in there, right? And if she gets dinged enough, she throws a little tantrum like this. And she really wanted all of her supporters last night to really enjoy this. She wanted to show off Remy. She wanted to show off his piano playing. She wanted to show off her poetry and show them all, you know, what a wonderful poet laureate she was, and how incredibly talented he is. And people just weren't here for it. People were leaving the chat left and right. She had one of her longtime supporters be like, yeah, this ain't it. And then decided to very nastily tell them to go F themselves. You know, it's just wasn't a good stream for her. And I won't be terribly surprised if this stream doesn't come down eventually, just because of her behavior in it. But it is the most recent stream she has up, so there is that. All right. If you've made it this far in the stream, go ahead and put a piano down in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. I know I went off early because I went off early. Let me know. Did you wonder what was happening in Missouri? Do you know what's going on in Missouri? By the time this video gets up, something may actually have happened in Missouri. Who knows? But yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget your emoji is a piano. And that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. So I will see everybody in the next video, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.